Welcome back to the Leeds Lens. Oh my God, I'm absolutely gutted, people. I am absolutely gutted. That is, I don't even know. I can't even. I'm trying to come to my thoughts, obviously, to do this show. But the more I do these shows, the harder it gets to do them. Like, honestly, that is as gutting at the end of a game I've felt in such a long time. Like, obviously, we talk about it. Oh, it's gutting, and we say it all the time, and it's a commonly used word. That was not what we deserved, not how we wanted it to end in any way, shape, or form, and just the most gutting way to lose a game ever. Because I thought we were good for a point today, at least. I thought we were very, very good for a point. I thought in that second half, we were by far the better team. And yes, you can talk about the 2 goals we scored, and people might go, oh, that's the reason you were better. No, we were definitely better than them in the second half. We were fantastic in that second half. We almost went to a level in the second half I didn't even think was possible for this Leeds United team to do. I didn't think it was possible. My camera's a bit messed up. But I honestly just didn't think it was possible to get to that level. We were that good in the second half. But then we come out the game again with nothing. And I've talked about this on the channel a lot, where it's like the worst thing you can do in football is play well and not get anything out of the game. And Leeds United continue to do this now. We are playing well and we're not getting anything out of the game over and over again. But I've got to go. There's a negative approach to this game or a positive approach. And I'm sorry, I've got to go with a positive approach on this one, because that second half, we were fantastic. We were absolutely fantastic. Man to man. And we didn't deserve to get beat. We could have won the game in that game. I know we lost it in the end, and obviously Foden scores, and maybe it was poor defending for the goal and Foden unmarked. But we had chances ourselves to win the game. Goodmanson at the end, another chance to get a shot off, doesn't do. And I had a Man City fan that I know messaging me going, I'll take the draw now. It looks that bad for us. And we had them, and we were pressing, and we were determined, and we were showing character. And this is something that I've seen us lack in the recent weeks. Like the Forest performance, the way we played in that Forest game was levels different to the we played for Man City today. And I've got to be honest, I know there's going to be a lot still on the manager going about how bad it was, and this player's crap, and this is the case. This nonsense, and I've said this in the midweek, and it needs calling out, this nonsense that they are not playing for the manager is categorical nonsense. It is completely not true. Regardless of what you think of Farke, you can blame his tactics, you can blame his substitutions, you can do whatever you want. They are playing through. That I will not have, because it's just not true. And if anyone's asking if I'm Daniel Farke out this moment in time, how can I be after that performance? How can I be Daniel Farke out right this moment in time? I just cannot be out. And when we talk again about Daniel Farke never changes it, he doesn't do what a lot of us wanted him to do. He changed it in the second half, and it worked perfectly. Now, that's what we've got to carry on now, and we've got to play that now from now on. We can't now go back to a 4-back when we play Chelsea and Liverpool. We've got to stick with this 5-3-2. It worked. Stick with that. That is right. Anyone that was calling for a 5-back, you were right. We were fantastic in the second half playing a 5-back. So if we're looking at the future, which is what we're going to have to do in this a bit, in these next 2 games, start the 5-back. Start the team that ended the game in today. Start that team against Chelsea, and let's see what happens. But we've also got to have the same approach in the game. It wasn't just about change to a 5-back. It was about the way we played and the fact we pressed them in the second half, because we had them triggered in the second half. We had them in a situation where we could have beat them. That we had them pressed in, and it was even when it was 2-2 in like the 86th minute, we were pressing for a 3rd goal. Yes, they scored in the end. I'm still not happy with this camera, but yes, they scored in the end. But we were pressing for the 3rd goal. The 3rd goal was potentially there for Leeds United. We just didn't come off, and I think on another day we probably get some out of the game. And the other thing I want to mention, by the way, and this won't be called out enough, and I did a tweet about half-time about this, which is a joke. That 2nd goal that Man City got is an absolute disgrace from the PSGMOL. An absolute disgrace of a decision. Foden, for the shot that gets the corner, is about 300 miles offside. He might as well be sat in the bloody stands with the Leeds fans. He's that far offside. Then the ball comes back in from for the corner. We've got Silva stood knocking Perry in the way, involved in the football match, which is what the rule is. And he's off miles offside, and they don't give offside. That is absolutely ridiculous. We should have drawn that game, because that decision is an absolute disgrace. And we should, again, we're going to get a letter. Oh, it's fine. Oh, because they apologised to us. The PGMOL said it's fine. Nonsense. That is a disgraceful decision. An absolute disgrace. How on earth is Bernardo Silva not involved with play there? How is he not involved? And how can he not call the Foden one offside in the first place? It's an absolute disgrace, that. And that needs calling out, because that draws me up endless. And at half-time, you might go, oh, well, it's probably going to be relevant. But with the second half performance that we put in there, it was absolutely relevant. Disgraceful, that it really is, and it needs calling out. Prefer to be spanked 6-0 than lose 5-3-2. No, definitely not, mate. Definitely not. Because we saw character in that team today from Leeds United. And I don't want to do all the proud stuff and all that stuff, but I almost feel like that. They got us involved. At half-time, I felt like a neutral watching the game. I was so sick to death with it all. But in the second half, they got me involved in the game completely. Me and my brother were jumping up and down when we scored the second goal, like we're at the ground. And of course we were. We just scored 2-2 at Man City. So yeah, valiant performance. But I mean, as I said, we've come out now with nothing in the game again. But we have seen a protocol and a structure of something and a framework for something we can do moving forward to try and get the best out of this Leeds United team. Because that 5-3-2 works. That midfield three of Tanaka, Gruev, to be fair, who did play well today, and Ampadu works. Two up front of Nemetra and DCL works. There is something there to build on. There really is. If I could use the same tactics in the first half of the second half, the scoreline might have gone in Leeds' favour. Yeah, it might have done, mate. It might have done. Farke needs to learn from what's going on from this going into the Chelsea game Wednesday. He does. And this is almost more pressure on Daniel Farke. Because after that performance, anyone called for him getting sacked, it won't happen. So you Farke out, as I know there's loads of you. Majority of the fan base, I think, is Daniel Farke out. And I get it. Look, the results are not good enough. All that's true. They won't sack him after that. So you're going to have to get on with it. And we're going into this Chelsea game. And in my opinion, we've now got to see Daniel Farke learn from his mistakes, learn in that first half, do what he did in the second half, and implement it from day dot against Chelsea at midweek, and then the same team against Liverpool as well. Because this 5-3-2, I didn't like it. I don't like the system, but I've got to look at the performance levels, and I've got to look at what that created in the second half for Leeds United, and it created a fantastic performance for Leeds, and something that, as I said, we can build on. So even though we've lost the game, there is learnings from the game that we've just seen, which is a positive, and it's nice to see Daniel Farke finally change. And I thought Biol was better in the second half as well. I thought we looked much more of a threat on the attack in the second half. There is a lot there. John says we still lost. Oh, John, give it up, mate. So did you not, when we went 2-2, John, did you go, oh, we're probably going to lose anyway, I'm not going to bother? Like, do you know what I mean? We've got, like, come on. Everyone said, I put a thing out, I put a short clip out of me saying the score prediction going into this game, and I thought we were going to lose 5-0. That was my prediction. I had people underneath me slagging me off, saying we were going to get beat by more. Farke has to stick with this direct style play. Yeah, he does. And by the way, what I will say as well is, and I know this is probably a strange way of looking at it, but if we'd have brought a new manager in for this Man City game and we'd have put that performance on, everyone would have been saying that's what Farke should have been doing weeks ago. So you've got to have context to this as well. You can't. As I said, I completely understand why people want the manager out. I get it. I've talked about it all week. I said that I might be Daniel Farke out after this game if it goes wrong. But I'm not, because of the situation in the game. But I completely get it. But coming out with stuff like that just feels unfair. Because you're also saying, like, did the players not deserve any credit for that second half performance at all? Do they not? Because stuff like that suggests that to me. Jagger Skills says there was been a lot of hope. 2-2. There was a lot of hope. And what I liked in that game, Jagger Skills, which is what's an interesting point, is when the game got to 2-2, I think you expect naturally Leeds United just to sit off. We didn't sit off. We kept going and we kept pushing and we kept trying to get it over the line. So as I said, credit for me has got to be there for this one. It really has, because the second half they were there for the taking, Man City. They really were. That should have been a formation start of the season, potentially, John, but I didn't agree with that. So hindsight's a wonderful thing, innit? But you may be right on that. As I said, now we've learned that that's the formation. That's the formation we've got to stick to. But it's not just about the formation. The formation is one part of this. There's a number of elements to the way we played in that second half that's not just the performance. It's the different structure. It's the different formation, yes, but it's also the fact that we were aggressive and we pressed in the second half and we pressed from the front all the way through the second half. And it's also the fact that we didn't try play through the lines and we went long and we got balls up to Dominic Calvert-Lewin and we got balls to Nemetra. We didn't try play through the lines, which is exactly what we've been calling for in the fan base and on this channel to do. And we did it and it worked. Jaggersfield says, well, let's be honest. Why wasn't Farke doing this weeks ago in games when we had a chance to get something? Well, we had a chance to get something today, Jaguar Skills. We were about 5 minutes away from getting a draw, mate. And as I said, if the referee wasn't a moron, we'd have actually got something in the game. So, you know, like the referee could make a blatant decision on that second goal that they shouldn't have had. We'd have got something from the game. So, I don't know. I'll show you in it. I'll get a tactical plan up and we can have a look at the second half. Because honestly, let me get it up now. Let's get it up. It's going to be a different formation. That's the wrong one. Anyway, this is how they played, and we essentially went through midfield. We brought the two wingers off. This is obviously how we started. Nemecha played up front here, like this, and then where is it? Where's Dominic Calvert-Lewin? Let's find him. Goodmanson obviously ended up coming on over here as well. We went, where's Biol as well? Blimey neck, there's loads to do. Calvert-Lewin came on like this, and we had Biol. Where is he? Yaka, where are you, Yaka Biol? There we are. And this is how we played second half. This was the formation. And what we saw is we didn't try build through the lines. We didn't try to build out from the back. All we did was hit these two front men and got Gruev, got Tanaka in and around it. And Tanaka was sensational in the second half, picking up balls. When the ball go into Calvert-Lewin and win these headers constantly, you had Tanaka in and around these spaces, picking up the ball. And it worked fantastically well. But one thing I will say as well is the midfield work rate to do that in the second half is off the scale. I don't think people realise how much ground in a three-man midfield like this, how much ground you've got to cover in a 5-back formation, because you've got to get all the way out there to help Foden with his double up against Goodmanson. And then you saw Tanaka all second half as well. When Doku was down here, Tanaka was coming all the way across and doubling up here to stop Doku getting down to the line. So there is a lot of, and then he's got to get back inside when the ball goes to the side, round to the other side. So there's a lot of work that goes into playing like that. But when it works, and it did in the second half, and the players put in the performance they did in the second half, you can really see a positive outcome. Anyway, should we go through? I don't want to talk too much longer because we might do a closing whistle at some point. But should we go through the player ratings for the game? So I think Perry in goal, I thought was... before I do that, actually, I'll get some of your guys' comments in. Is there any more comments? I agree, but let's be honest, why wasn't Farke doing it weeks ago? I agree, but in other games, Farke didn't change anything in other games. He didn't, and which is why I understood Jaguar Skills, why, obviously, people were Daniel Farke out. I completely get that, but in the same breath, when he does change, I think we've got to give credit where credit's due, and he did, so, you know. Anyway, player ratings, I thought Perry... was probably poor for the second goal, although it should have been ruled out. I thought, besides that, he probably had quite a decent game. Bogle, I thought, was decent at right back as well. I thought he had a decent game. Let's some more comments. This was once a great club, as bred a generation of fans embraced defeat, and Daniel Farke, we're Norwich 2.0. Norwich were losing 3-2 against Man City, mate, so I just disagree. Like, as I said, if we'd have gone and lost the game, 5-0. And by the way, Easy, if you want to read my notes, mate, I'm happy to send you to them. But at half-time, I actually got my notes written down, and I said he's turning us into Norwich. That was my thoughts. But then I've got to change my opinion based on what I see in the second half. And I didn't see a Norwich-esque performance in the second half. I didn't see that. We won the game in the second half 2-1. Like, we didn't... the second half completely... He changed the game completely. We played so much better. We scored 2 good goals. Like... We've got to look at what's actually happened. I just think it's so unfair. And I know you want Farke out, and you've wanted Farke out, I think, for the longest time, obviously, which I understand and I've talked about. But you've got to give some credit where it's credit's due, because let's be honest, you're all giving him negativity when it's gone wrong. So if you are going to give negativity, all I'm saying is when stuff goes right, you've got to be positive at the same time. You can't have it all one way, because it's just biasy at that point. And that's what I'm trying not to do. As I said, I'm obviously going to come from a different stance because I want the manager to retain in the job at this moment in time. But we can't go down that road, in my opinion, because it doesn't get us anywhere also. Anyway, I'll carry on with the player ratings. Bogle, I thought, was a fantastic second half. Again, I don't think he was that bad in the first half either. So he probably gets, for me, a 7 out of 10. Rodon, good again. Centre half, probably a 7. I think Biol played... Biol was his best game for me in a Leeds shirt. I thought he was much better. Had a good chance at the end where he probably could have done better with it. But I thought he played really well. Thought Strout was good as well, especially in the second half. I thought he was taking a bit off it in the first half, but I thought he did well. So again, he probably gets a 7 for me. Goodmanson, good again when he comes on. Adds a lot of energy, which I think people don't, when we talk about Goodmanson, we don't talk about this enough. I think he does offer a lot of energy to this Leeds United team and offers something more than Justin. I think that natural width of having Goodmanson on the left-hand side is a real positive. The midfield 3, I think were all 7s out of 10 as well. I thought they all played really well, especially in that second half. As I said, the workload that you've got to go through in the second half to do that was fantastic. So they were all brilliant. And Nemecha, Calvert-Lewin, they were both fantastic. I thought they were both really good as well. I thought Nemecha, Calvert-Lewin, especially when Calvert-Lewin came on, I thought everything we've talked about in terms of Calvert-Lewin, in terms of not winning duels, that sort of stuff, the stuff we expect from Calvert-Lewin, I think we saw that in the second half today. So as I said, we put it this way, we were losing 2-0 away at Arsenal earlier in the season. We end up getting beat 5-0, and it was totally embarrassing. This is a completely different complexion, in my opinion. Completely different complexion. Anyway, lost 5 in 6 before this game, and you want to give Farke credit. I don't want to give Farke credit for them games, though, do I, mate? That's the difference. I want to give him credit for the second half in this game. So did he not change it half-time easy? And did we not get better in the second half? And did we not get 2 goals in the second half? Did that not happen? Am I watching a different game? As I said, in the last 5 or 6 games, I've come on here and battered Farke literally every single game. But when I see the opposite of that, I've got to. It's not. That is how it works. When someone plays well, you say they've played well. When someone does things poorly, you say they've done poorly. I can talk about the last 5 or 6 games all you want. And as I said, I've made videos all week about the fact he's probably going to get sacked, looking at new options for new managers. But in the same breath, when we play well in a second half, why can't I talk about that? I can talk about what I can, and that's what you do. As I said, you've got to give credit where credit's due, and that's how I stand on it. Anyway, thanks all for watching, as always. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, obviously like, subscribe, all that good stuff. But I'm another frustrating defeat for Leeds United. But at least I think when you look at this game, there is places where we've got a structure now that we can build on, and we can get something from these games. And we can, I think, use this 5-3-2 going forward and play with this like we did in the second half and show something. I think we can do that. Anyway, thanks all for watching, as always, and I hope you've enjoyed the show. And if you haven't, then I guess, look, it's a game of opinions at the end of the day. The thing is with all this, and I always say this, is that, look, we disagree, and obviously me in the comments disagree all the time. But look, we all want the same thing. We all want the best for Leeds United, and we just have different paths of getting to the best place for Leeds United. But we want the best for Leeds, and that's the end of the thing. And I always understand that, and I know a lot of you guys understand that as well. We all do. So, but yeah.